InterpreterFlow API was built to help speed up the development process of telehealth interpretation services. Language barriers in healthcare can cost time, and when a doctor and patient don't speak the same language, they need an interpreter. Coordinating three-way phone calls manually is slow and error-prone. InterpreterFlow API was built to solve this. It's a production-ready toolkit that automates medical interpretation calls using Twilio. This is how it works. The system has three layers. Front-end, where doctors, patients, and interpreters connect. 5 serverless API endpoints that handle the workflow. And Twilio Voice API that powers the actual phone calls. So doctor is the initiator. It starts the conference, adds in the patient, finds the interpreter, adds interpreter. After all participants are added in the conference, the calls are initiated through Twilio Voice API, and on front end, each participant receives the phone call. And finally, we have the conference status, which is a Twilio webhook. It is not actually part of the API in a sense that we have created it, but we did create a simulated API because in testing environment, you cannot actually use this webhook. It has to be used in real time. So we created this API simulation in order to be able to test and track status changes for conference calls and for participants. All voice communication runs through Twilio Voice API, and InterpreterFlow uses their conference calling features with TWML instructions to control how calls are connected and managed. TWML is a sort of XML where you put content that you want Voice API to recognize, and it's basically what participants will hear in their devices when they pick up the phone. The benefit of InterpreterFlow API for developers is that you don't have to touch Twilio directly. You can just call these APIs and everything else will happen automatically. It speeds up your development process so that you can focus on actual problem that you want to solve in telehealth medicine. Let's look at the code. Create conference is the entry point. It takes doctor info and language requested, generates a unique conference ID, and creates the conference object with doctor added as first participant, and stores conference data object in conferences. You can see that all participants have ID, role, phone, and status. That makes tracking easy throughout the workflow. Next one is request interpreter. Request interpreter finds available interpreters for the requested language, finds the most recent active conference, and adds the first available interpreter as a participant in the previously created object that is stored in conferences. And here we can see the participants that we already have, and we have one that is overall interpreter. Start conference is where Twilio comes in. It finds all 3 participants, doctor, patient, and interpreter, and it uses Twilio to call each of them at the same time. Each call gets custom TWML that tells Twilio what to say and how to connect to the conference room. Doctor gets special handling because if doctor leaves the conference ends for all other participants. Let me show you this in action. I'll run the automated test workflow. Watch what happens. Conference created. There's conference ID and automatically doctor added in the conference. Following, addition of participant patient also attached to existing conference. Then API sends request interpreter and system finds Maria Garcia, who's added as an interpreter to the conference. Now starting the conference, see those call SIDs. Those are real Twilio calls being initiated. In production, 3 phones would be ringing right now. The final state of this workflow is the change status for the conference, which is now in progress, and the participant status for each is calling. As mentioned earlier, Twilio status webhook cannot fire in development, only in production. We have created a simulated status webhook API so that you can test the change of status for conference and participants as well. This process is explained in detail in API documentation. What you get with InterpreterFlow: 4 production-ready endpoints plus one simulated webhook endpoint, complete automated test suite, full documentation including compliance guide, serverless ready deploys to Vercel or AWS in just minutes, commercial license, and 1 year of support included. If you're building healthcare software and need interpretation service, check out InterpreterFlow API. It includes full source code, documentation, and a year of support. Link is in the description below. If you have feedback or feature requests, drop a comment. Your input will shape the next version. Thanks for watching and happy coding!